Hi everyone. Today we have Clement on in this session. Clement, thank you so much for coming. How are you today?
Hi, great. Thanks for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to have an interview with Platinum Group. Get ready to get started.
Great. Can you please describe your primary responsibilities as a director at CoinStore Group?
Sure. Maybe just a short introduction about myself. I'm Clement, and currently I am a director at one of the subsidiaries under CoinStore Group. So basically, it's an incubation arm where we are trying to set up a few of projects on our own. Primarily, I'm responsible for setting and implementing some of the strategies that set the strategic direction and the vision for our company. This involves like identifying market opportunities, coming up with business strategies, managing our external and internal stakeholders, and making key decisions to make sure that we can drive growth and, of course, profitability. Basically, on a day-to-day, what I'm mainly in charge of right now is the business development department of our company, whereby currently as a subsidiary of CoinStore Group, what I do is to see if there are like partnerships involved that can bring some of the projects that we are doing to greater heights. Other than that, I'm also trying to see if maybe there's more interesting partners where we can onboard them or bring them to basically help CoinStore Group as a whole to grow. Other than that, simple stuff like motivating the team, telling them that they can achieve their full potential, and basically try to contribute as much as possible to make sure that CoinStore Group is successful as a whole.
How did you start your career in the cryptocurrency industry and why did you become interested in cryptocurrency?
Okay, thanks for that question. My background is in traditional finance. Back then, I was managing some high net worth clients' portfolios. Basically, what I did was in Singapore, whenever there was some individuals who wish to perhaps set root in Singapore, I go to them, talk to them about their whole like financial aspects, see what I can do to get them to set up shop in Singapore, how they can get their family in here and things like that. This was almost for I think 6 years. And back in 2017, of course, as most people are, they started off basically retail trading. I did as well. Got exposed to Bitcoin, got exposed to Ethereum, got exposed to XRP early on. And fast forward to maybe 2020, I think that's when the pandemic hit. Everyone was trying to look for ways and means to see what they can do at home. So I stumbled upon again Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then at a point of time there was a lot more things happening on in the space. And then I think in 2021, DeFi Summer came in, dabbled really more in depthly into that, trying to see how basically DeFi worked. And then towards the end of 2021, I decided that I wanted to get into corporate crypto. Back then, I joined CoinStore Exchange. At a point of time, CoinStore Exchange was really small. I think there was only about maybe 20 to 30 people. And started up in the business development department. So primarily what we were supposed to do was to bring in revenue for the company in ways and means that we could do so. I think fast forward to today, CoinStore Group as a whole has almost 300 employees worldwide. And proud to say that I'm part of this growth. And that's how basically my career started in crypto.
That's really interesting. And can you describe like what does a typical day look like for you at CoinStore Group?
Sure. So a typical day starts with basically trying to catch market trends. So we want to see who's making some news, usually on Twitter or making some news on your media platforms like Coinbase, Cointelegraph, and so on. And then I meet my team. We have a morning huddle every day at 9:30 a.m. So it's a very strict and routine thing whereby we have a 9:30 meeting every single day. And then the meeting lasts till about maybe around 10. And then at 10, we have like a head of department meeting with all the different heads of departments like the operations team, the marketing team, the tech team, and so on. And then we discuss some of the ongoing projects that we are doing. We review some performance metrics. We address any challenges that we think we're going to have. And then we plan for the week and the month ahead and things like that. Throughout the day, I engage with partners, stakeholders, and sometimes even regulatory bodies, so that we can stay informed of what's happening, if there are changes involved, and so on. And of course, doing interviews like this currently. So I think more and more, it's more about trying to get more exposure as a company level, and then we also try to see right now in crypto, because there's a saying that goes that crypto moves so fast that we don't even have time to sit down and see what's happening. So I think it's really important to sit down and try to analyze some market trends and analyze some data to stay informed, so that as much as we are in the business ourselves, we need to know what are other people doing, and then try to see if there's ways and means that we can incorporate it and make it better. So yeah, that's the typical day in my life.
Nice. And how does CoinStore differentiate itself from other cryptocurrency exchanges?
Good question. So I think how we try to differentiate ourselves is, currently, since the last 2 years, we are really focused on spot market, and we are really focused on emerging markets, such as like your Southeast Asian markets, such as like your Indian market, such as like your maybe even African market. So these places are where a lot of users, they are unbanked. So we try to make sure that we go to these markets and make sure that our app is as user-friendly as possible and as seamless as possible in terms of like trading experience and so on. So other than that, we also really make sure that security is a key component, because most of our funds, we basically don't store it at any other place. We store it at cold storages. So a lot of times people would think that, you know, you don't have a proof of reserve, you don't have things like that, but actually majority of our funds are stored in our cold wallet. So this way we prevent the chances of it getting hacked, and we make sure that we do regular security audits internally to protect our users' assets. So yeah, I think other than that, we also try to innovate as much as possible. Like we came up with Web3 wallet back in like I think mid last year. So these were things that I think we came up faster than some of the top few exchanges. And then more and more, we try to enhance the overall experience for our users as much as possible. So we know where we are. We know that we are not one of the top exchanges. We know that we can't compete as strongly against some of the big boys, but we try to see how much we can do in the area where we are trying to grow at and be strong at.
Despite security, in your opinion, what is the other biggest advantage of using CoinStore for new users?
Sure, great question. So I think for us, we try to be as user friendly as possible, and one of the initiatives that we Cryptalk and CS, we call it Cryptalk, and then the other one is called CS Meet. Sorry, I can't remember the name for it, but basically we do a lot of offline events whereby we invite people in local communities in. We try to do some seminar talks whereby the participants are maybe about 100 people or so, and as much as possible, let's say we do one in like the city of Kuala Lumpur, we do one in the city of Bangkok, we do one in the city of Jakarta. We try to do this as much as possible worldwide, whereby, you know, we try to make some offline experience to show the online and offline users what we are all about. So for new users, if let's say they see this online, they see this offline, it builds a certain level of trust. And then we also make sure that people who come to our event, they get to try to interact with our app as much as possible.
And how do you balance the need for innovation with the importance of user safety and regulatory compliance?
Good question. So I think in terms of innovation and in terms of user safety, regulatory compliance is one of the top priorities for us. So over here, we try to be as agile as possible. The first few things that we did back in 2022 was to go and work with some of the government bodies and some of the regulatory bodies. So I think the first major milestone back then was to work with an association called Cardin. So Cardin is basically what you can think of like a chamber of commerce, whereby when we worked with them, we got exposed to like the regulatory body in Indonesia. And then from there, we tried to work with the government body there where they are regulating crypto. So one of the things that we really did, I think, pretty well was to help projects who want to enter the Indonesian market. If let's say they want to enter the Indonesian market, we are sort of like their international exchange to bridge them to the Indonesian market users. Why we tried to do this was because in Southeast Asia, Indonesia is actually the country with the most biggest number of population, and we saw that crypto adoption there was slowly increasing. So we want to work with the government bodies there. Not only that, we tried to basically work hand in hand with the regulatory bodies in Malaysia as well, in Vietnam as well, and so on. So Philippines as well. So I think more and more we try to make sure that not only is us innovating our platform more for user to be basically making it as user friendly as possible. We try to make sure that in the regulatory aspect, we are friends with the regulatory bodies around us in our surrounding markets. So yeah.
So I have some unpleasant questions now. So due to crypto volatility, how does this affect your strategy as a director?
Sure. Wouldn't call it unpleasant, so no worries. I think volatility in cryptocurrency is something that's unavoidable. We make sure that number one, I think as an exchange, risk is something that we need to manage over time. So we don't really have a very big futures trading platform. We don't really focus on that in the past 2 years. Coming to this year, we think that we have some knowledge that and also expertise that we want to try to expand into the futures market from this year. But more and more, I think in terms of risk managing is something that's really very important in the crypto market. So what we really did was to ensure that in terms of our spot trading is as user friendly as possible, as dynamic as possible, so that we don't take part in too much risk. We make sure that whoever that comes and on board into us, they have to provide substantial liquidity, and also this way we try to mitigate as much risk as possible for not only the project owners that come to us, but also ourselves and also our users. So volatility is something that we can't really control in the market. So to users, we ensure that we basically come up with as much considerations as possible to let them know that trading is something that's high risk. There's no financial advice that we are gonna give, and so on. So not only that, we also try to maximize our profits and also reduce our risk by hedging our positions as much as possible out there in the market. So yeah, I think for me, in being a director in the whole group, I think it's really more about risk managing as much as possible. How can we ensure that the resources that we have is maximized to the fullest?
Has CoinStore ever experienced a security breach? If so, how was it handled?
Fortunately, no. So hopefully in a short time, we won't face any security breach. In fact, I think this is something that we are quite proud to say so, because in the past, I think 2 to 3 years that since we fully launched, there hasn't been any security breach at all, and we take security very seriously because these are user funds. And as I mentioned, we know that we are not the biggest exchange. So the only way that we can make sure that it's safe for users to use this is to ensure that we don't face any security breach. And I think there's really a lot of different protocols and SOPs that we set in place to ensure that number one, our users' funds are safe. We do so by keeping this in cold storages, and number two, we conduct regular internal audits for ourselves.
And in the event of a market crash, what measures does CoinStore have in place to protect its users' investments?
Okay, so I think first and foremost, we don't put users' funds with any third-party users. So that's I think one of the most important things, because I think back in the more popular events such as the Luna crash, or maybe even the FTX crash, a lot of users' funds were placed with third party. So maybe a treasury management or some sort. But for us, we ensure that users' funds are strictly kept with us and it's not being invested in anywhere. So this way, once users, if they want to withdraw, they can withdraw. Not only that, for our own funds, we make sure that we implement circuit breakers, and we implement things like trying to stabilize our treasury funds as much as possible, and also risk management tools. So all in all, for users, we don't use that to make any alternative investments, or we don't use that to put in any other place. All of our funds and users' funds are kept with us. So I think that's how we ensure that we don't take so much risk.
Okay, Clement, I have a last question for you. What is your vision for the future of CoinStore in the next 5 years, and how do you plan to achieve it?
Sure, thanks for the question. So my personal vision for CoinStore is in the next 5 years to be a leading global cryptocurrency exchange. We will be known for our branding in terms of the offline space, because offline spaces and offline events are something that we really love to do, because we feel that it brings a lot of transparency, and it brings a lot of sort of visibility to not only us but our partners. And then also definitely we want to make sure that we are not breached in terms of our security as much as possible, and we also want to give the best user experience not only for the emerging markets but also for the global markets. So we plan to achieve this basically by trying to expand our services as much as possible, and currently right now the incubation arm that I'm in right now, to see how we can not only sort of invest in budding new entrepreneurs or budding new project owners. We also want to introduce new trading products, new features, and also partner with all the industry leaders to drive more adoption worldwide. So we also want to make sure that in terms of the regulatory compliance, we are in the know-how, and we also know that there are things that we shouldn't do and things that we should do, and also to educate our users as much as possible to make it more accessible and make it as safe as possible. So in maybe 5 years time, I personally hope that CoinStore Group has a really good branding, and whatever that we do in terms of the projects that we do, even if we fail fast, and if we succeed big. So yeah, that's my roundup.
All right, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Clement, for this insightful conversation. It was fast and productive. If you guys also inclined to speak with our speaker one-on-one, you can find Clement's contact details in the video description. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. See you. Have a brilliant day ahead. You got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.